So we created student DTO here, and as you know, DTO stands for data transfer object. So why would we want to separate from the entity framework class here, student, which is used by entity framework to update the database? So why would we create a data transfer object? This could be used by an API, for example, or a front-end user interface that only needs the name and the age properties rather than the whole object that we have here containing ID, name, age, city is active. So these fields may be unnecessary. So your program doesn't really need to know the entire entity for a certain specific task, whether be it displaying it on UI or responding to a web API request. So you do want to separate the concern between database and the actual layers that exist on top of the applications, such as the UI and API. So here you can see that you can actually populate the data transfer object using entity framework. So you can use the context and then the set, and then you can issue any SQL statement basically that is able to be run on your database. So in this instance, you can use joins, you can use any where clauses, pretty much anything that you want. You can select the columns that you need, and that would populate your DTO. But remember, the column names need to match your DTO class. So in this instance, student DTO has the following two properties, name and age, so they must match. So if we have a look at the benefits, so you've got security, you can hide sensitive fields using a DTO, such as password, internal IDs. For performance, you only need to transfer smaller payloads of data. So that's another reason to use a data transfer object. And another reason is separation of concern, because the UI or the API doesn't need to know the full entity structure. And of course, you can use it for data shaping, which means customized output. You can actually have additional computed fields if you want. So yeah, just remember some of these benefits: security, performance, separation of concern, and data shaping. So DTOs are very easy to use in Entity Framework. Just make sure within your context class, so that's the one that inherits from DB context, you add on model creating, you add a DTO, student DTO entity, but make sure it has no key, because in our instance, we do not actually have a key within here. So the key is normally a field that is an ID field, and then this will work flawlessly with Entity Framework.